Save 8% off your order at TruTechTools.com by using the Shop Talk discount code. Hello, guys, and welcome back to HVAC Shop Talk. My name is Zack Psioda. I'm going to be your host for this evening, and we have a full house already. It's very nice, guys. So many comments I couldn't really keep up, so keep on commenting. That's great. We have two Holts here. We have a Holt on the show and a Holt watching the show, so this is good. We call that Holt Squared. That's a new name I just came up with right there. Because last night we had Zack Squared because it was Zack Desjardins and myself, so just naturally we'll just give that same nomenclature to everybody. So I'm going to say good evening to our commenters down there. We have Frylock Hamilton Mechanical, who is affectionately known as Hambone, Susie Dunn. We have David talking from the show to the show. We have Andy Holt, brother of David, Josh Hogan. We have Kangaroo God. We have Adam Haichi. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Will Justice, you won our book, which I have another copy of over here. My own copy. Where's it at? Review of Vacuum for Service Engineers. You won our book on yesterday's show, so that actually went out today in the mail. I was sort of right. I said it was either today or Friday, and I actually got it out early. So you should have that here in a couple days. I can't remember where your address was, but it's out today. So I believe I sent you the tracking information, so stay tuned for that. And I put in a HVAC tactical neck gaiter with that and some stickers as well. So that should be a lot of fun right there. We have, who else do we have in here? I'm trying to run up the list real quick before we say a few things. We'll get David in here. We have Thomas is here, and I think that is all. Good. Okay. So something else we're doing tonight, which I'm going to go ahead and talk about, is you see right down here where my finger is pointing, we have a Yellow Jacket Bluetooth smart probe. It's a psychrometer. We're going to give that away at the end of the show. So that ought to be a lot of fun as well. So at the end of the show, we'll use Nightbot to pick a winner. And as long as you're still here, then you'll be eligible to win that probe. So those of you who have tried Field Piece, which is really popular, or Testo, which is also popular, but don't know what Yellow Jacket is like, it's a good way to kind of test out one of the Yellow Jacket probes. So that should be a lot of fun for somebody. So make sure you stay here the whole time, all right? Will Justice says he is in BFE, Kansas. I'm not going to break down that acronym. It just means he's out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, that's all that means. And we have HK HVAC Dragon. That is an awesome name. I can't remember his real name, which I don't even know if he wants me to say it, but I know I've emailed with him before. Also, if you're one of our watchers for Men with Issues, which is our show that is on Read the Manual, that manual right there, right there, that one right there, that's a good one. That's the one you really want to focus on. That's going to be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So if you're one of our viewers for that show, just be aware I'll be creating that event. You should see it in the morning, and Justin and I will be back to talk Bible with you guys. And I believe that is it, guys. You should see some stuff. Hopefully Nightbot will put stuff in the chat. I tried to get this done. It's supposed to remind you how you can support the show and some other stuff, but we'll see if it actually works. It should be occurring here in the next few minutes. Welcome to Country Fried HVAC, another chatter. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to hit a little Navac spot right here, and then I'm going to pop back in here, and David will be with me. David Holt, that's from National Comfort Institute, which I don't think I mentioned. So the NCI folks are good to this show. We get a lot of those guys on here, and I really appreciate that. They're really knowledgeable. And all right, let's take a little break. We'll have David in here when we come back. The NP4DLM cordless vacuum pump from Navac features a high-performance lithium battery capable of up to 1 hour of continuous running time. Weighing a scant 15.4 pounds, this unit is exceedingly efficient and for technicians, easy to carry and store. The NP4DLM's twin-cylinder operation provides high vacuum down to 15 microns. To save 8% off this product when you purchase, go to TreeTechTools.com and use our Shop Talk discount code. David Holt, welcome to the show, man.
Man, you sound like Santa Claus giving away all that stuff up front.
Honesty must prevail here. The Yellow Jacket probe came from Yellow Jacket. They sent it on purpose. And the book came from Jim Bergman, and he also sent it free. So he sent me. I'm reading one, and the other one's given away.
There you go. Yeah, I saw that last night. You already got your version already yellowed out, right? You're already set up.
Oh my gosh! Every book up here, well, not that book, but all the other books. When I read them, I use the yellow highlighter. In fact, it's right here next to me right now. And there's just a lot of stuff in that book talking about vacuum. There you go.
When you get old, man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know how you are, but my eyes are not fantastic. They never have been. And whenever I'm reading, especially now, my glasses come off. The lights I use for the show come on so I can see better, even though there's no show happening. Either, whether it's the Bible or one of the manuals over here, I have no glasses and the lights have to be on, or else it's so difficult I'll get a headache.
It's a funny thing. Contrast is an important thing as you get a little older. I can tell you that for a fact. I'm glad to be here, bud. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have first time. We've had your brother.
Boop, boop.
Yep, we've had your brother now. I think he's been on the show probably 3 or 4 times now. So you have some catching up to do. But that's okay.
He's much more popular.
Well, we're going to see tonight. We're going to see who has more viewers. We'll know who's more popular by the end of the night. Although his show was probably on Friday, and this one's on Thursday, so you got to factor that in too, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's a good fella, and I know you work for NCI. So why don't you give us a little backdrop of your life? The show's basically an hour long, so use an appropriate amount of time to tell us your background.
All right. Number one, again, appreciate the opportunity to be here and share with the whole team out here. See, this is a really important platform that you have here, Zach, and on behalf of the industry, man, I appreciate you and all the other podcasters putting this technology to good use, because Lord knows we can abuse the heck out of it. So I really do appreciate the opportunity to share some truth about the HVAC industry with you guys tonight. So my dad was a 21-year Navy pilot, so I was born and raised on the road. I was actually born in a little town called Corpus Christi. What does that stand for, Zach?
Corpus Christi?
Body of Christ.
Body of Christ. Is it Latin?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of more probably a little Hispanic. It's right down on the Texas-Mexico border, basically.
Okay.
Anyway, so down on the tip of Texas, and Dad was a Navy pilot, like I said, and he dragged me, brother Andy, our sister Amy, and our sister Ellen, and my mom all around the country. When he went in all the cool places, we got to stay stateside. So he's flying in Antarctica. We're living in California. He's flying over to Japan and Alaska, and we had to live in Hawaii for 2 years of all places. I mean, so did that for several years. And while Dad was flying airplanes, his dad, my grandfather, was running an HVAC business in Columbus, Georgia. He started it in 1956. Dad joined the Navy in 57. And when Dad retired from the Navy, he came home and helped out at first with the business, and then eventually bought his dad and he had a brother and a couple of sisters that were involved with it, and wound up being the sole owner of the business there for many years. I got involved with the business in 1991 after selling a software company that I started in Atlanta. I needed to sell that software so I could stay married. You know what I'm saying? I was working way too hard and traveling all over the place, and came to the beautiful town of Columbus, Georgia, and got involved in running the business. Wound up being the president of the business. Served on the ACCA national board for several years. Um, got very involved in the whole idea of what we now call high performance HVAC, starting back in the early 90s. Did blower door testing and flow hood and carbon monoxide testing and stuff like that. That now is a lot of the foundation of the stuff that we teach at NCI. Dad sold that business in '99 to a consolidator, and I've been out doing training, coaching, and consulting ever since. Helped brother Andy with the development of Profit Strategies, the flat rate pricing company that he helped co-found back in 1999. Did that for many years, and when that company there was a bunch of ownership changes. Andy sold his portion, and one of the other partners sold their portion, and they moved the operation, which was here in Columbus. They moved the production facility for the flat rate books up to Rochester, New York. And I don't know if you've been to Rochester, New York, but they don't do sweet tea up there, Zach. So I took a no when I was given the opportunity. When I was given
Well,
the opportunity to move to Rochester, I said, you know what? I think I just stay here. And about that same time, NCI was knocking on my door and said, no, you don't have to move to Cleveland, Ohio. I said, good, because you don't have sweet tea either.
mm-mm.
So I work here out of my house in Columbus, Georgia.
Wow, it's funny that you mentioned Rochester because my grandma lived on Lotta Road right in Rochester, and I've been there many times. And from Pennsylvania up, the sweet tea takes on a whole new meaning.
Oh, yeah.
We were even brought cans to the table one time at a Pizza Hut in Pennsylvania where they said, well, you want some sweet tea? Sure. And they brought a can. I was like, what is this? That's not sweet. I don't know what that is, but that's not sweet tea.
So
So
when you were in Rochester, did you ever do Dinosaur Barbecue?
is that a restaurant?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been to Dinosaur Barbecue. Their big thing was a restaurant on the north side called Shallers. That was north of the city. It's like you drive out of the city toward the lake,
Mhm.
and it's a burger restaurant. It's like a diner. That was their
Hmm.
thing. I don't know.
Okay, well, I've never been to that one, but if you get back there and you get downtown, Dinosaur Barbecue was pretty good.
Well,
Not bad for Rochester, New York, anyway.
well, that is true. Barbecue from New York. That seems like a Pace Pecani commercial or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, so you went into the HVAC business and you had a software business before that, and your reason was you want to preserve your marriage, so you went into owning an HVAC business. How
Well,
bad is
not
software?
dad owned the business. I was a
Okay.
hired gun, right? So actually, it was pretty cool because the software company, we started out doing like custom software development for people like Delta and AT&T, Coca-Cola, some of the folks that hang out there in Atlanta. Actually, I put one of the very first accounting systems in one of the very first Home Depot before it was Home Depot. And that was kind of fun. So a lot of cool stuff going on there. And then one day, I guess it was about 85 or 86, Dad calls me up from the company. He's now retired and running Holt Service Company, and he says, I need something for the service department. And he sent me to, I think it was St. Louis. ACCA was having a little kind of a trade show for software companies. And we wound up going up there as a consultant for Dad just to see what was available for the industry at that time. And I just quite honestly wasn't too impressed with what I saw. And because of my background, I actually have a degree in management information systems, which like that makes no sense in the heating and air industry. Excuse me. But he said he wanted something to take care of model numbers and serial numbers and date of installation and warranty expiration and all that kind of fun stuff, which you know very well that you got to keep up with that stuff, especially on the service side of the business. And he asked me to go look. I didn't see stuff. So I said, why don't we just build you something? He's like, what's that? Because we were software developers. So we wound up talking to him and a handful of other contractors in the Atlanta area. Dad was the current president of the Conditioned Air Association of Georgia at the time. So he was able to pull together a group of guys that all made a fairly significant investment up front for something that didn't even exist yet. And we built that system. It was called the Service Manager by H2 Solutions. When I sold that business, I sold it to a buddy of mine that I used to work for right out of college. And he kept it going. It was H2 Technologies. And then he sold it several years ago. And that's, it's a crazy thing. And actually, Andy's investment with Profit Strategies turned into CoolFront. For people that know what CoolFront is,
Oh,
as
yeah,
a
sure.
flat rate pricing system. So Andy's company was the foundation for that. In fact, our dad was the database guy for that product for a long time before it was actually CoolFront, back when it was just Profit Strategies. And that's now part of Field Edge. So
Man,
it's kind of fun to see all the different, tentacles that we've had in this industry over the years. It's been kind of crazy.
that's interesting. So you were working on this stuff way back in the day. I mean, before all these, because now it seems like there's so many companies that are in
Oh
that
yeah,
arena. Because I get emails from them all the time. How much is
sure.
advertising on the podcast? How much is that? It's the same thing from like 10 different companies, and I won't recognize any of them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, because you have like thermogrids out now. I've seen that name appear over and over again. CoolFront, we actually worked with them for a while, which is funny. That's
yep,
funny you mentioned that.
yep.
It's interesting. So it's a crowded market now, but it's interesting. You guys were on it like 2 decades before all this
Yeah. Well,
hullabaloo.
actually, those that have been in the industry for any length of time remember, like, Callahan Roach was one of the first flat rate commercial flat rate books out there, and the guy that actually started that whole crazy phenomenon of flat rate pricing is right out of North Carolina, man. A guy named Jim Kimmons was the guy that actually built the first real flat rate pricing system for the service department. And Holt Service Company was one of Jim's very first customers when he started going around talking about it before it ever became Callahan Roach. So yeah, we got lots of scabs on our knees from trying out different things for the first time, and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And it's just been a real blessing to just give back to an industry that's given back so much to our family. My son actually also works for National Comfort Institute, so he's a fourth generation guy right now. So it's kind of crazy. We've been into it for so long.
What does your son do at NCI, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind you asking at all. Thank you for asking. So if you ever pick this dude up and you get on your phone and you bring up a little app called Air Max Lite, AIRMAXX space LITE, and you install that on your phone, that product was developed by my son. So he's an app developer for NCI. We also have a online test performance management system called Comfort Max. He's the product manager for that. He maintains that product for the company, and was the spearhead for developing that product when it was built 5-6 years ago now.
Interesting. So
So
would you consider yourself a software guy or an HVAC guy? I mean, when you think of
yes,
yourself, which one comes up first? Both of
uh,
them?
I am Kelly Holt's husband. That's who I think of first.
That's probably a safe bet right there, I'd
That's
say.
that's a that's a really good thing. Yeah. So no, I'm a systems guy, Zach. How's that? I'm a systems guy. So what I
Oh, that'll
love
work.
is I love taking otherwise complex situations and trying to get to how we can simplify it, right? What do we do to make things easy for the people around us to understand what needs to happen, basically. So I'm a systems guy.
I like that, because what I've noticed in life, especially as I get older, is things are often unnecessarily complex.
Yes, they are.
Because I don't know, maybe it justified somebody's plan a long time ago that makes something complex is the prevailing sentiment I have now.
Well, I think that in confusion and I mean, think about it. If we both turned off all of our lights right now, in darkness, we could still talk, right? We could still speak, but our light would not be shining at all, right? And so the reality of complexity, the reality of disorder, the reality of chaos is the opposite of of what the creator really wanted to see happen. But we mess it up. So It
I
is
like
what it
that.
is.
Beings of entropy is what we are. So let's get to our question of the day now.
All right.
And I appreciate that background. It's very interesting to see how things come about and learn more about the rest of the family, which I like because I've already talked to some of them. So in
Mhm,
the future, you never know. I may talk to even more of them. Never
mhm.
know. So who's the head of your business? That's your question. That's one of the things that you like to kind of explain and break apart. So
Yeah.
where does that question come from? Where did it come from, and what does it mean? It seems simple,
So
but what does it mean?
yeah. So actually, let's do a little interactive thing, Zach. What if the
Okay.
folks that are listening right now were to actually answer that question in the text right now? So think about that, guys and gals, on the channel right now. If you're live, I'd love for you to answer that question. Who is the head of your business?
Oh,
Think
good.
about
Yeah, they'll do it too. We just got to give them a second because of the
That's
lag.
right.
So there'll
That's
be
right.
like an
So
8-second lag.
who is the head of your business? When you think about that, I want you to just kind of, okay, well, the head of my business is fill in the blank. It's a
Absolutely.
very interesting well, I'll just throw something up here while we get some answers. So this is I'm an instructor by trade too. So this is a little thing that I developed a while back that says, how do you get from where you want to be to or from where you are to where you want to be? And it all starts at the bottom down here with mindset, right? You got to have a change of mind to say, you know what, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be, hey, I'm going to be that guy. Hey, try that again, man. Hey,
It's
wait
for
a
the
minute.
benefit of your pitcher. Here you go.
Yeah, there it is. All right, man. That's awesome. Yeah, there it's a big picture. So how do I change where I am? I mean, I gotta take that mindset thing right there, right? And I gotta say, all right, I'm gonna be different. Like I could make a change right now in my life, and I could say, you know what, Zach, I think I want to be a brain surgeon. Well, before I can become a brain surgeon, I got to change my mind first, right? So I changed my mindset, and I could probably get on Amazon and I could probably buy a brain surgery tool set. Probably not, but you know what I'm saying, right?
It
So
is
the tool,
Amazon, so yeah, probably.
you never know. I mean, we probably could find that. So I changed my mind. I say I want to be a brain surgeon. I go out and I buy the tools. I wouldn't recommend you hire me to do brain surgery yet because I don't have what I'm missing the skills,
Right.
right? So for any trade, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't and we use the word trade loosely because it doesn't matter for any occupation that you're in. You got to have first the right mindset to get to where you want to be. You got to have the right tools. You can't do it if you don't have the right tools, and you got to have the right skills to execute the process that you need these tools for, right? So it's like all three of these things come into play. So the question of who's the head of your business is really a mindset question, right? When you think about who's the head of your business, can you read while I'm looking, or should I read while you're looking?
I can put them up on
She.
the screen. I can put them on the
Oh,
screen.
perfect. Hey, let's put
So
them up there. That's awesome.
I'll run through them one by one by the time in which they answered. So we
Hmm.
have Kangaroo,
Good.
says the customer. We have Dave Weaver, says the customer. And then we have Will Justice that said his spouse. Again, another safe bet right there. Herbert Howard says the customer. Will Justice says then the customer. After his wife, then the customer.
Mhm. There you
Adam
go.
says the employees.
Ah,
And let's see, I think that's about it. Weaver's kind of going on some other stuff, but that's our answers from our different people that are choosing to answer the question right there. So mostly
well,
the customer is what they
let
say.
me. I need to do a shout out to Mr. Howard. So Herbert Howard is actually one of my top techs that used to work for us back in the day. So he cheats. He knows the answer to that question because we used to teach this all the time at the shop, and that is the right answer. So the customer. I mean, think about this: if you own the business, if you don't own the business, it doesn't really matter. But the customer is the head of the business because without customers, you have no business, right? I mean, you
Absolutely.
could have the greatest product in the world, but if you have nobody that's paying you for the opportunity to enjoy your product, you don't have a business. You're going to be gone. You won't be in business. So one of the things I learned in business school, when I asked the question or when they taught me this idea, they said that in business, our number one goal in business is to earn a profit. And what I learned was when you work with companies whose 100% focus is on earning a profit, it's a tough place to live. All right. But what I learned when I went to work for dad, and actually even when I was doing my software business, when I went to work for Dad, I learned that or profit is the result of doing something really important, and that is putting smiles on customers' face. So I think that the number one thing we need to be focused on is looking through the eyes of the customer, provide the products and services that the customer needs, that the customer wants, but most importantly, what the customer deserves. And when we do that, then we can achieve the three most important goals in business. First, number one, most important goal is putting a big old fat smile on that customer's face, right? And most of the time, that's mama's house. And if we're talking residential, that's mama. We want to make mama happy because if we make mama happy, everybody else will be happy, right? So, number one, most important goal is put a smile on the customer's face. Number two is to what? Get paid a premium price for a premium product. Now, here's the interesting thing. I want people to think about this. Your price actually defines your product. Think about that. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. Your price actually defines your product. And if you don't think a whole lot about your product, guess what your price is going to look like? Going to look little, right? If you're actually are delivering a high quality, high value product, guess what? It probably going to cost you a penny more. Like that Navac pump. Is that a cheap pump?
No, it is not.
And why is that, Zach?
Well, it's a very high quality pump.
It's a high quality pump, and does it help you get your job done faster?
Actually, yes. There's
A
a lot
lot
of good things it
faster,
does, yeah.
right? So it's got a lot of really nice benefits that make it worth more, right? It's worth more because it does more, right? And I think one of the things we miss so many times is we get so caught up in the technical trades talking about what stuff is rather than what it does for the customer that we lose some of that value. So the idea of the customer being the head of the business, not unique to me, but it is something that I've learned that when I do look through the eyes of my customer and I understand what's important to them, that I can solve problems that are important to them. Like, think about this. There's four words. I love everybody to just think about these four words within our industry. These are kind of the cornerstones in my mind of what we do in our industry. And I'm just going to throw these words out randomly. So we got comfort. Obviously, we're in the comfort business, right? We got efficiency. That's a big buzzword within our industry. We've got safety, right? We don't want to kill anybody, obviously, with what we do. That's an important thing. And we got health, right? So indoor air quality, all those types of things. I mean, those are four kind of cornerstones of what I like talking about is a high performance indoor comfort system, right? A high performance indoor comfort system is going to address all four of those. But here's the interesting thing. If you ask the customer, and I got these little cards that I designed back in the day where we just laid out these cards in front of the customer, and we said, and there's a definition on front of each card that says, here's what this word actually means, right? So we're laying these cards out, and we said, here's what these words mean. Like, check that one out. Safety. The heating and cooling system does not pose an immediate safety threat to your family through possible exposure to electrocution, explosion, fire, and or poisonous gas. Now, some people, when I read that, they say, man, you're trying to scare people. No, I'm trying to keep people alive, right? So if you think about these four words, comfort, safety, health, efficiency, when you lay these cards out in front of the customer, what I found is that the customer will prioritize them differently than what you and I may have initially thought about. If we were to prioritize those words right now through our eyes from a technical standpoint, we might think about comfort and efficiency as being top of the pack. But if you ask Miss Psioda right now, what would be most important to her, she would be thinking about her house and her family, and she would be saying, I need the safety of my house and family to be number one.
She would probably say my happiness.
Yeah, it's probably all about you, baby.
Yeah. I don't think that'd be true. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. It's interesting because I would pick comfort or I'd probably pick comfort, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think from a technical standpoint, I
That's
think,
right.
is this
That's
machine
right.
doing what it's supposed to do? Is it
That's right.
safe? Well, does
That's
it
right.
do what it's supposed to do? It doesn't kill
Right.
anybody, right? Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So, but if you ask them to prioritize them, you will find that safety is number one, health is actually number two, comfort is number three, and efficiency is last.
Hmm.
But yet, what does the manufacturer and distributor teach us?
Sell the highest end thing you can possibly sell.
Yeah. Here's the thing: the highest end thing may very well be the right decision for that customer, but whose decision is it, Zach?
It's the customer's decision.
That's exactly right. So if I look through the eyes of the customer and I just lay the things out, I'm able to now start talking to them about how we do what we do that makes us different. So that philosophy of looking through the eyes of the customer is something that we used to talk a lot about at Holt Service Company back in the day, and I've been talking about it long before Holt Service Company. The drawing that we might as well just throw that up there. We could talk that
Yep.
through real quick. This drawing that Zach's getting ready to put up on the screen kind of puts this whole thing into perspective. So if we look at this thing over on the right side, it says your customer is the head of the business. And if we look through the eyes of the customer and provide the products and services that they need, then they want, and they deserve, then we do achieve the three top business goals. Number one, we make them smile, right? We make them so happy that they gladly do the other two things. They help us achieve the other two goals, which is number two, earn craftsmanship pay. Think about the difference between a craftsman and a handyman, right? If you look at what a handyman gets for his work versus what a craftsman gets for his or her work, it's sometimes there's commas in the check difference between the two. And
Yeah.
and that's an important element because you can't give what you don't have. And if you're going to try to help your coworkers, you're going to help your community, you're going to help yourself, you're going to help your family, you're going to help your, just everybody around you. You have to have the resources to do it. Well, earning craftsmanship pay gives you more resources to do more stuff that's good for the world. And then your growth in your business is not dependent on the weather. Your growth is not dependent on SEO or SEM or postcards or whatever, right? You don't have to market that way. Your growth comes by word of mouth. And back in the good old days, man, word of mouth used to be the big deal. I kind of crack up with, I think it's an AT&T commercial where, oh, word of mouth advertising. That's the way they used to do things. Well, guess what? Word of mouth advertising is still pretty good. So when you got a really, really happy customer and they say, man, I wouldn't use anybody but Zach, then that's, that job's already 80% sold. It's really yours to mess up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite kind of customer right there because it's
Yeah,
yours to lose, just like you're saying. You got to physically or do something to bring it below 100% in my
it,
eyes.
it really is true. And so if we look at the middle part, so we got our little stick man figure down there. The head of the business is the customer. The owners and leaders, which are typically what I hear most of the time when I do this in a live class setting. Most of the time, what I'll hear people say, "Well, it's Joe's Heating and Air, so Joe and his wife, they're the leaders. I mean, they're the head of the business," and we get them thinking right. We say, hey, you know what? Joe's a nice guy. I'm sure his wife's a sweet lady, but you know what? If they didn't have customers, you wouldn't have a job. So let's get this right. Let's get our mindset right. Let's get focused on who is paying all the bills. In fact, this is something I don't think most people even think about, but every dollar that gets into this industry, and I mean, I work with all the manufacturers and distributors all over the country, actually all over North America, and I'm talking to billion-dollar organizations. But you know where the money starts? It starts with you guys in the field having that conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Smith at the kitchen table, having that conversation on a rooftop in a commercial building or whatever. It's that transaction, that quote unquote retail transaction, that's really driving all the revenue in our industry. I mean, I got a check every once in a while from a manufacturer, but it was only a rebate based on something I already sold. So they were giving me back some of my money, kind of like when the tax man gives you back your money. So I never got a check from, the manufacturers or the distributors. I always got my checks from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? My customers. So one of the things that the owners and leaders have to do down there at the foundation of the business is they've got to put the right level of quality and integrity on the table. They got to say, you know what, guys and gals that are working with us in the company, you've got to look through the eyes of the customer and you've got to do things with a high degree of quality and a high degree of integrity, or you just don't fit. Your way of doing business just does not fit. And I mean, there's some extremely good conversations we could have about what does quality and integrity look like in the field. But I will tell you one thing, and I'm kind of proud that Herbert's on this call right now. That dude used, if I could have put a 55-gallon drum of coil cleaner on his truck, he'd have it empty every day, because he was that guy that wanted to make sure that you could eat off of that machine when he walked away from it, because he knew what kind of an impact a clean coil, clean blower had on the performance of that system for the benefit of the customer. And that's the right thing to do. I mean, so many people just walk by opportunities to make things better for the customer. My dad pushed me into the Boy Scouts back in the day. He had been in Scouts himself, and so had his dad. And I got involved in Scouts. And one of the big takeaway lessons I got back then was you always leave the campsite better than you found it. Right. And so one of the things I really appreciated about the team that we had assembled at the shop, and again, Herbert was one of the key players on that team. When we did something in the field, I mean, we really did strive to make sure it was the highest quality and the highest integrity in any transaction that we did. So you got to stand on those two principles, or the company will fall, right? So the owners and leaders have to define that level of quality and integrity, and then from there they have to put the rest of that system, if you will, together. So the body, the arms, the neck, all that, those are all parts of your company. Those are parts of the body of your business. So how we touch the customer are the top three things: your service techs, your install crews on the other arm over there, and then the reps would be like the sales reps or the folks that answer the telephone, whoever communicates with the customer or has a wrench in their hand. That's how we touch the customer in our business. And in the core of that business, we're pretty technical. We service and install HVAC systems and other mechanical systems. And one of the big mistakes that I think people make in our industry is they start speaking in a foreign language to the customer. They start saying SEER and HSPF and total external static pressure and inches of water column, and you start throwing out all these terms that on this call we can all agree that I know what that guy just said, right? We're speaking a language that each of us understands. But when you sitting there across the table from Mr. and Mrs. Smith and you start using that terminology, I promise you that smile is a fake if they're smiling. If it's not communicating, you're confusing them.
I can
Does that make
attest to that.
sense?
I've sat at many of these tables. I'll take us off for a second so we can see us again. I've sat at many of these tables and done a great job of explaining scientific things, and the people are like, yeah. And I'm like, well, they're really getting it. They're really getting this stuff. And then it occurred to me one day, after about an hour of doing that they weren't even probably listening to what I was saying. They were thinking about what they're having for dinner that night. So I agree with that. I always enjoyed kind of breaking into these little things about, let me tell you a little bit about superheat. And, then they leave the building mentally.
Look, here's the deal, man. I'm third generation heating air guy. You talk to me about superheat, and I'll just say you need to get Andy back on, because Andy understands that stuff. I never did that. I never did that, Zach. I never fixed one. Well, I can't say. I mean, I never got paid to fix one. I never ran a service call. I never ran a maintenance call. I never installed a piece of equipment. I sold millions of dollars worth of systems. All right. And when I say system, I'm talking about everything from grills and registers back to the equipment. I don't talk about a condenser, an evaporator, and furnace. That's not a system. Those are components of a system.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Right? But the system is everything that's involved in making that indoor comfort system operate properly. So when you think about, you think about that drawing and you got that core, so you got service and install is kind of the core of our business. And then we put a wrapper around that. We put our sales and marketing efforts. So that's just a way to say we got to communicate in ways that customers understand it. We got to communicate in ways that customers understand it. So the sales and marketing is basically, I call it the envelope, right? We got to put the envelope around that technical stuff that we do. Now, right there in the middle of that drawing is a heart with a dollar sign in it. Now, there may be some people that say, oh, here we go. Love of money, love of money. No, that's not what we're talking about. In business, cash flow is king. You have no cash flow, you have no payroll. You guys want to get paid? We need cash flow, right? So cash flow in the business is like blood flow in the body. You stop the blood flow, you die. You stop the cash flow, you die, right? So same kind of thing, a little bit of an analogy there. But the importance is that we got to make sure that everything we do earns the right amount of cash so we can keep the body operating, right? Because all those people that are represented by the arms, by the neck, by the leg, all those people have to get paid. Everybody wants to eat, right? And what I love about this is when you stay focused on looking through the eyes of the customer and providing the products and services they need, want, and deserve, when you achieve that goal of putting that big wow smile on their face, and then they reward you by paying you a premium price for your premium product and refer you to more work, all you got to do is take action. All you got to do is take action with that information. That information is a referral. I take action with that referral and I can keep that cycle going and going and going. I keep hitting my microphone. That part is a beautiful thing, because what we wind up doing then is we create a business where we can begin growing the business organically. So we can start out, every customer that you get starts out as a prospect. They hadn't spent anything with you yet, right? No money, nothing. So down in the bottom left-hand corner of the drawing here, a prospect has made no purchase yet. They go from that to a customer after they just buy one thing. All they got to do is buy a filter, and now they're your customer, right? Is that a really good relationship? Should you ask the girl to marry you after you just bought her a crystal the first time you've gone out? Probably not, right? Probably not. You haven't earned that relationship.
Hard sell.
Yet.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah, it's pretty hard sell. But they become a client. Your customer becomes a client when they begin to buy from you multiple times. And if you really want to have an awesome life, you get them to partner level, where they're a lifetime of purchases. Now, partner level is evidenced in the HVAC industry specifically by having a maintenance agreement, right? Because what that customer is telling you is, Zach, I trust you enough to hold my money in advance so that you will come out here and take care of my system, from grills and registers all the way back to the equipment. You're going to take care of my system, and you, with your professional eyes, your professional training, your professional instruments, your professional tools, are going to professionally make sure my family is safe, healthy, comfortable, and efficient. And I will gladly pay you to do that. Right. And not only that, Zach, I will gladly tell everybody I know how awesome you are. And wouldn't that be a great business?
I like that model. That was my marketing strategy. It didn't work
as
flawlessly.
It should be.
It didn't work flawlessly for me, but that's mainly my own doing, because I spoke that foreign language you were talking about earlier. I spoke it fluently and often.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if we stop and I ask you a few questions I've accrued thus far? Okay.
I'm good.
They range from small to large. On the small end, you said SEO and SEM. What is SEM? I've never heard of SEM before.
It's basically search. It's what do they call it?
I know search engine.
It's search engine It's search engine marketing. It's where you actually you're paying for ads, basically.
Like Google AdWords or something.
Right.
Like that.
That's it. That's an AdWord thing. Yeah. And SEO, search engine optimization, it's optimizing your website so that it's found by Google, until they change the rules again. Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about the partner level, let's look back at the thing. Yeah, prospects, customers, clients, and partners. Now,
Hmm.
partners, you said people that sign up for maintenance agreements because they want you there on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Are you said the strongest characteristics of those people are going to be in it like an intense loyalty, or like your most loyal customers? Is that who these people are?
Well, think about this, and we're in the southeast, and I'm actually a Georgia Bulldog, so I can love to hate certain teams in our area, and one of them who I love to hate is Alabama because they're so darn good. But here's the thing that is interesting. If you think about Bryant-Denny Stadium over in Tuscaloosa, um, it is an amazing facility. They've got trying to it's like 105,000 seats,
Yowzer.
and you can't go to a game at Bryant-Denny Stadium without a ticket, number one. And the maybe it's 101,000. I don't know. It's over 100,000. But
It's a
here's
lot.
the amazing part. Season ticket holders account for 80% of that capacity. The other 20% is the other school. Think about that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's another thing. Here's another little fun fact. There's 32,000 people on the waiting list to get season tickets.
Good grief. That's more people than watch our teams.
They can yeah, I mean, they could add another level to the stadium, right? If they said, "All right, we're gonna sell all these tickets, these other 32,000, you're prepaying before we even build the freaking seat for you, but and you are gonna be in, like, the ionosphere," which is up in the air a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but if you want in, here's the price of admission. So when you think about it, I mean, do you think that the University of Alabama worries about having the funding for their football program?
Not with what you've told me.
They don't know. And so do you think that contractors that have 30 and 40,000 maintenance agreement customers that are probably paying them on a monthly basis worries about payroll?
No, I could see your point there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes a big difference. Now, the difference though is the maintenance actually ensuring the safety, health, comfort, and efficiency of that customer's home? Or is it the unfortunate low bid
Yeah.
mentality, $29, 15-point
That's it.
inspection?
That's
Yeah,
what I was
anyway.
waiting for. How many points is the one he's gonna be talking about? Mine was only 10 points. It's even
Yep.
faster and less credible than yours.
Well, and so here's the scary part. That is unfortunately that's the reality because a lot of people take that as the mind. It's basically their mindset. It becomes a marketing strategy to try to be low because guess what? Here's the thing, and a lot of people don't connect these dots. Remember, I said I like to simplify stuff. I'm gonna simplify the reason you're not selling stuff at a higher price is not because customers won't buy it. Because I mean, look at the car that you walked by when you walked up the driveway. Right? Look at the house they're living in. I mean, yeah, nobody wants to. Nobody. I mean, think about this, guys. Nobody wants to buy a furnace. Nobody wants to buy an air conditioner. Nobody, but they do want what it does. Right? It's not about what it is. They do want what it does. Well, if your maintenance program is going to absolutely ensure my family's safety, is that now worth something more than just a change the filter and I'll see you next year?
That's a good point. Yeah,
Right?
especially on, combustion fired stuff.
Well, that's just one of many things, right?
Mhm.
So the safety of, I mean, think about this. You know, the number one cause of house fires?
Well, I've had 2 house fires. I can tell you our causes are electrical.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely the number one cause of house fires is electrical. And it's usually either a short of some sort,
Mhm.
or just a loose connection, right? Because a
Right.
loose connection, I mean, get your infrared camera out and hit some loose connections and see what kind of heat buildup there is on those connections. All right. It's amazing. So if you've got a trained set of eyes driving a vehicle stocked with the right tools and parts and instruments to figure out what's going on with people's homes, you are worth a lot more money than you're asking for it. But the problem is that foreign language that you were speaking was not translating into value. So I don't have to explain what these 4 words mean to customers. Now, how I get to what these 4 words do for the customer, I mean, I got to have somebody like Andy or somebody like Herbert to actually do the work, right? And have them take care of getting the work done. But if we can communicate the value that we deliver to that customer, I can put a big old smile on the customer's face and everybody wins. The customer wins because, I mean, think about this. Brother Andy's he's a pilot and he knows how to fly airplanes. Okay. I didn't have the pilot gene, even though our dad was a pilot. He got it. And I just kind of like ride in the right seat and have a fun time watching them do it. But one of the things that a pilot absolutely will not do is if there's even a hint of frost on the wing, they will not take off. Because why? Why would they not do that, Zach?
Well, not being a pilot, I'm going to guess that frost and ice are weight, and they also allow you not to turn any flaps that would be on the wings.
There's 2 things, but the real deal is you change the curve of that wing, and now I'm not getting the same lift that I once got before because it's not spec now. Well, what does a blower wheel look like? Looks like a bunch of airplane wings in a circle. So if you can see dirt, it's too dirty. It needs to be cleaned, which is why I said if I could get a 55-gallon drum on Herbert's truck, because all Herbert had to do is take a little white napkin and wipe on it. If it had dust on it, we're cleaning that thing because that's what it took. I mean, you don't wait until the neighbor's cat crawls in there to say it needs to be cleaned.
That's good. Yeah.
Anyway,
I found some stuff like
I
that.
can preach on that.
Well, I've seen the cats and the
Yeah.
rats and the stuff that you're mentioning. Let me ask you a different question. I'm going to bring up the picture one more time. So, would it be fair to say that your sales and marketing are somewhat like a communication arm of like technicians and installers? That they are the go-between between your customer and those people?
Yeah. For this drawing, I didn't do it the way that I do many times when I do it live. I'll actually draw those lines all the way into the service and install lungs, if you will. So, and it passes through our sales and marketing. So what that kind of indicates is that we, as the technicians, as the folks that are out there in the field interacting with our customers, we need to invest in the right kind of customer communication training so that we don't overwhelm them with a bunch of gobbledygook, because it's just that. I mean, it's not attractive to a customer when they're being asked to spend thousands and thousands of dollars in many cases, and they don't understand a flipping word you say. I don't understand what you're. I don't know what this means. I mean, if I heard Sears went out of business, why do I need a 20 seer if Sears went out of business? Huh? That thing got some of that. Yes, that thing got some free zone in it. How much free zone does it take? I mean, it's like, really? Listen, man, customers don't know anything about what we do, but they do know what they want. And what they want is they want safe, healthy, comfortable, and efficient homes. That's what they want. And if we can help them enjoy the safest, healthiest, most comfortable, and energy efficient home that they can afford, then we all come out the winner.
Let me ask you a follow-up on that. Now, if you have a smaller company or maybe a company that just has a structure that doesn't match your drawing, that's missing marketing side or missing sales side, because a lot of smaller companies, they don't have a salesman, they have technicians that sell things. Is
Yeah.
that a natural disadvantage? I mean, are they going to be, at -10 compared to these other companies because they have
No,
dedicated people?
no, I don't think so at all. I think it's a mindset thing all the way from the beginning. I mean, when our grandfather started, I wish I'd have sent you a picture of the shop. When our grandfather started the company, he started in the backyard of his house, and he was craftsman. He knew what he was doing, and he had quality, he had integrity, and he handled the entire process extremely well. I appreciate you asking that question, because when you are a smaller operator and you don't have individuals in each of those roles, you still have to change hats, right? So if you're like when my grandfather was out giving someone a price for a job, he's wearing a sales hat, obviously. When he goes out there and he's tuning up a boiler or whatever, he was wearing a technician hat. When he was going out there installing a replacement package unit, then he was wearing the installer's hat. So the reality is every one of those roles, regardless of the size of your business, has to be in there. You have to have it regardless of whether you got one person or 1,000 people. Every one of those roles in that diagram have to be fulfilled.
Can the marketing role be as simple as getting referrals for smaller
Absolutely.
companies? And that can
Absolutely.
be all that because a smaller company, they're not going to have the budget to do a lot of the things that larger companies have, but they still want to have some sort of marketing.
Well,
So it consists of
here's an interesting thing. We 1996, we celebrated our 40th year anniversary. And that was the last time we spent any money on traditional advertising in 1996.
Wow.
Sold the business in 1999, had about 3,500 maintenance agreements when we sold it. But here's the deal. What we did is we got focused on referrals. We got focused on having maintenance agreement customers invite their friends to become maintenance agreement customers, and we would reward our existing maintenance agreement customer when they actually signed up, right? And the same thing is true on our sales calls. When our guys were going out, we had 3 guys that were running calls all the time. 2 of the guys, one named I'll get it right in a minute, Roderick, and the other one was named Ronnie. That's kind of weird when their names are so close. But Roderick and Ronnie, those 2 guys, they would go out on these sales calls, and we had a program that we had put together where if the customer, well, let me just put it this way: when you're the highest price guy in town, which we were, when you're the highest price guy in town, you can expect to hear, "Golly, man, your price is kind of up there." Yeah, it is, right? But so we had some things built into our process where we could offer that customer an opportunity to earn, not just give them, but to earn up to $500 off of this job by just enrolling them in our marketing assistant program. Think about that, Zach. If you could get your customers to help you grow your business, aren't they part of your marketing? Aren't they part of your marketing plan?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So should you compensate them for their efforts?
Yeah, I think so.
So what if, and you build this into your cost of doing business, because marketing is a cost of doing business, right? So it's built into your overhead, it's built into your markup for your jobs. But let's say you got $500 built into that job that you're willing to invest in that customer, and it looks like to them they're earning a discount, which they are, but you've already got it built in, so it's all good. Imagine this, what if the customer says, "Yeah, I'm all in. How do I earn that $500?" And you open up this little form and you lay it in front of them and you say, all you got to do is write down the name and address of up to 20 people that you know that own their own home. You don't need to know if they need an air conditioner. You don't need to know if they need a furnace. I'm not asking you a dumb question of, if you know anybody that needs a furnace or air conditioner, have them call me. I mean, think about how dumb that is when you think about it outside of your head. Right? When you're in your head right now as a contractor, you're like, well, of course that's what I'm looking for, is people that need a furnace.
Great question. It's a great question.
But your customer does not have a lot of people that are saying, "Man, you know anybody that puts furnaces in?" That's not a common topic around the water cooler. It's just not, right? So, but do you know 20 people that own their own home? Yeah. Well, chances are good in the market you live in North Carolina, the market I live in Georgia, if they own their own home, they probably have an air conditioner. True?
They ought to. Yeah, if they don't, they're working on it.
So what if you gave them $25 for each name that they wrote down? And the customer they don't have to buy anything. We're just discounting this job, $25 per name, 20 names, that's $500. What if they wrote them down? And as a part of that, they actually agreed to allow us to contact that customer via mail, not via telephone. We're not going to go knock on the door. We're just going to send them a special offer reserved specifically for referral customers with that customer's name. So imagine this: you got a Holt Service Company logoed envelope, you got a window envelope on here, you got the prospect, the new potential customer's name coming through the window envelope. It's got a Holt Service Company logo up here on the top, and right above it, it's got John and Mary Smith in red ink. We had a blue logo. It had red ink, John and Mary Smith above there. Now, John and Mary Smith is my customer that just gave me the 20 names. Let's say it came to you, Zach, and you said, John and Mary Smith, I didn't know they worked for Holt Service Company.
It's true.
Right. But now they did.
Now
right.
they're marketeers now.
They're marketeers, right? And so you're going to open it up and say, what is going on with this? Right. You open it up, you look at it and say, it's basically, Zach, we really think these guys have done such a great job that we wanted to introduce you to them in case you don't have somebody, and they did such a great job. There's a special offer that's reserved just for you. Here it is. If you have any questions about what they did for us, give us a call, because guess what? They're your friend, right?
And
how easy would that be?
How
easy would that be?
No, that's pretty easy. I was wondering how you were going to connect the customer that you were talking to personally with the people that were going to receive the mail. Because if you just gave them names and sent them something,
that ain't going to work.
99 of 100, you can throw those in the trash, probably.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
right. Postcard advertising.
Yeah, well, actually, you could do a postcard with that, as long as you had let's say that it's I got a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Smith maybe standing next to one of our trucks in their front yard in the neighborhood, right? And so you see that, and it's like, wow, man, I know those guys, and wow, they're right there next to a Holt Service Company truck in front of a nice neighborhood full of all kind of houses that have the same age equipment installed by the same low bid new construction guys, so they all got the same kind of problems. What if we fix that neighborhood? Like, what if we own that whole neighborhood? Right? I mean, so you got to think differently than the way we do right now. We travel all over the place chasing nickels when there's acres of diamonds right there where we're standing, and we just walk right by them.
So one of my favorite shows, one of the guys, it was called Shipping Wars. These guys that bid on shipments and run them back and forth. And one of the guys' name was Roy, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. That was his statement: nickels getting in the way of a dollar. That's what he kept saying all the time. And that's sort of the same situation you have there.
It is.
Although if you're in the bad neighborhood, then probably forego the picture.
Well, in fact, not only that, you probably forego even asking for the referrals or the testimonials in reality, because if it's not a neighborhood that you want to continue to spend time in, maybe it's unsafe for your people to work there.
At night.
Herbert, well, anytime in some cases. I mean, Herbert will tell you that I told the service techs, I told sales guys, I told everybody, if you wind up getting dispatched to someone who is a jerk, who treats you with disrespect, you have my permission to let us know in the office to put a big old X next to their name, and we'll no longer reach out to them. Because I don't want to put, like, if it's a house that's infested with fleas, under the house, and it's a crawl space situation, I'm not sending my guys in there. I wouldn't go in there. Why would I send my guys in there?
I know what you mean. I literally know exactly what you mean.
I understand. Yeah.
I've seen some bad ones. Forego the referral in the house where the guy ran by it and stole some of the stuff out of the front yard while we were working there.
There you go. I don't need that brain damage, man.
Yeah, that's we had to go buy a new drill, so let's not do that. And that comes also from experience.
Yeah, I understand.
Downtown Wilmington, it's hit or miss.
Yeah, I understand.
So we've gone an hour, so I want to make sure, is there anything on this diagram that we need to discuss that we have not yet discussed?
Yeah, that goofy looking face at the bottom. No, I mean, seriously, I guess the key up there at the very top where it says action, right? So I just explained the way our homeowner referral program worked, right? So we got the referrals, but what if I just got those 20 names, gave them that $500 discount, and those names just went in the drawer? If I don't take action with them, I'm actually hurting myself in multiple ways. One is, if the customer is expecting us to reach out to their friends and make that offer, and we don't, which leg did I just fall off of?
Well, the customer's expecting something and you didn't do it. That's
Yeah,
integrity.
that would be the integrity leg, wouldn't it? Right.
Absolutely.
So the actions have to be tied to the quality and the integrity, which are the foundation. Those are the legs, the two legs that the whole operation stands on. And I mean, gets a little, it's impossible to stay up on one. You got to have both. I mean, you really do. In business, in this context, you got to have both for it to work. You can't just be really high quality as far as your work is concerned, but be unethical in doing it. Right. I mean, you could be the sharpest technical craftsman in the world, but if you're stealing their jewelry while you're doing it, that's just not good. Right. That's not very ethical. Or if you're, charging four prices when you only ought to be charging one price. Right. I mean, it's like do it right the first time and get paid what you're worth. Right? Deliver the value that your customer deserves, because that's a key word right there. In fact, over there on that second bullet point down below your customer, provide the products and services they need, want, and I say most importantly, what do they deserve? What do they deserve? I mean, what when Herbert or any of the guys gave the customer an option, we had a good, better, best type pricing system that our service techs could carry the price book in the truck with them, and they could offer replacement systems if that's what made sense at that point with the customer. They could pull out their price book right there, and if they gave if they well, they didn't have a choice of giving three prices because they showed the book to the customer just like a waiter shows the menu in the restaurant. When they showed that and the customer said, "Well, Herbert, which system do you recommend?" Because that's a really good sign that they trust you, right? When they ask your opinion on something like that. Well, Herbert had one answer that he was authorized to provide. He said, Holt Service Company, we truly believe all our customers deserve the, what do you think?
Is it too easy to say the best?
No, it's just the easiest way to say it, right? Let's simplify it. Remember, I said it's all about making it simple. So we made it simple, right? So at Holt Service Company, we truly believe all our customers deserve the best. And when you do that, and you do that with conviction, with you have full confidence that your team can deliver the best, because there were times when we didn't have full confidence in that, right? And we started investing in the tools and training to make sure we could do that. And then when we started testing and evaluating to prove that we could do it, I mean, it's like, think about this. If you test the work that you've done, you can prove your promise, right? You
Absolutely.
promised that they're going to be getting this, that, or the other. This room is now going to be comfortable. We promise you. Okay, if I measure it and I see that it's performing the way that it's supposed to perform, I've now proven my promise, right? And that's. I mean, you just got to stand by your word. It's an integrity thing.
It's a very important thing too. I'm gonna go ahead and say I want to have a conversation with you about the possible ways businesses are corrupted. Maybe in the future we can do that. I think that's a
Yeah, yeah.
nice offshoot of this.
Oh yeah,
This is the
absolutely.
perfect structure. This is what it should be. Let's talk about the common ways in which they're corrupted either from the beginning or during the process, maybe during growth or something
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
Get you back for that. I think we'd have a
Yeah,
good time with that one.
that'd be fun. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are at the conclusion here as far as our time together. So I want to go ahead and thank you. Say, David, I appreciate you coming on here. Another David from NCI. We're collecting all of them. By the way, we should have them all. This might be all of them, actually. How many can there possibly
Yeah.
be?
That's only two of us. Yeah.
All right, we got the whole set then. We got Richardson and Holt now. So we'll have you back to have that conversation. I think that'll be great. Is there any email you want to leave with everybody just in case they have a question, anything like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Absolutely. You can hit me up at David H at NCIHVAC.com. And I'm not bashful about sharing my number. I mean, you call me, text me, do whatever. 706-332-2212. There it is right there. So whoever texts me first wins Zach's shirt.
I like that. That's what I put the number on the screen just like I was playing right into that. Look at
There
that.
you go, man. I appreciate that. I mean, seriously, we're available to help you out. If you call me after about 10 o'clock most nights, you'll usually get voicemail just because that's the way it works at the Holt House. Is we're usually up and running by about 5 in the morning. So I'm about ready to go crash, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. If you're calling this guy at 10 o'clock, I mean, it can probably wait till the morning, I'm thinking. But then again, we used to think that about the customers too, but sometimes they didn't feel that way either.
No, 24-hour service is a real thing if you're committed to putting smiles on customers' faces.
Absolutely. Oh, that's another good about 24-hour service. We can expand on that too. Man, look at that. Shows that come out of a show. How typical. All right. So there's this phone number 706 332 2212. Not after 10 people. Let's be respectful. It's
Eastern time. Eastern time. Yeah.
Eastern. Yes. Eastern time. Yes. Let's keep it straight.
We are right on the Central Eastern time zone line. We are literally on the line where we live. So,
okay, we'll keep that noted. David, I appreciate it. I'm going to move on, take a little break here. We're going to have some fun with giving away a tool, but I'll talk to you next time, I guess.
Thanks, Zach. Bless you, brother.
All right, man. Take care. I'm going to let you go, guys. Hang on for just a minute. We are going to take a break really, really fast. And we're going to come back and we're going to have a little bit of a giveaway, some party words, and all the spiel I usually do. So hang tight. The best forced air zoning controls in the HVAC industry come from EWC Controls. This includes the Workhorse BM Plus 3000 zone panel, 3 zones, multiple dip switches so you can customize the controls to your particular system install. Another workhorse of the system is the URD and ND dampers. These power open, power closed dampers are both reliable and long lasting. So for the entire life of your system, you won't be replacing your zoning components. And lastly, the innovative SBD2 static pressure bypass with the wireless NFC interface take this whole thing to a new level of precision and reliability, because you can set your system right there at your fingertips to the particular static pressure you need. No more guesswork, no more barometric arms. Go to EWC Controls Incorporated. You can find them online to learn more and look for them in your local supply house. All right, gentlemen and ladies, we have a Yellow Jacket Y-Jack Do psychrometer. It's one of their Bluetooth tools, part number 67063. It goes with the other Y-Jack stuff. We're going to give this away. This will give you guys an opportunity to see what the platform's really about, because I know a lot of you use other brands like Field Piece, which were out earlier. Testo's been out for a while, both first and second generation. So this will give you a look about what kind of quality they have and how the app works, and you can kind of see if you'd like to expand that. So there you go. We're going to be giving this away. So what you have to do is chat. You have to chat because it's going to be chosen from chatters. So if you want to win, chat. And what I'm going to do, because I'm just a great guy and all, I'm going to go ahead and send out with this. We'll go ahead and do one of those shirts and a hat. A shirt, a hat, and a what? Man, that's a great prize. Look at that, man. I just sweetened the pot. So we have shirts in large, extra large, and 2XL. That's the sizes we have. So if you're larger than that and you maybe we can send you something else out of the prize cabinet over here, or we have a few other things. We can send you a HVAC tactical face shield. So we just gave one of those away. Like I said, we've already sent out the prizes. Keep on chatting, guys. Chat it up. Chat it up. Yellow Jacket is pretty okay. You ought to be ashamed to chat that way. Trying to win Yellow Jacket prize. I tell you what, you ought to just bow out gracefully, Bimco. Tell you what. I appreciate it, Susie. David did really well with his interview. Did a really good job in here. So that was really great. Have him back. We'll have some of those other conversations. I'm looking forward to talking about like how companies taking his diagram, which let's look at it real quick here again, taking his diagram and kind of seeing where are the weak points in certain companies, what part really hurts them. Like if you have quality, but not integrity, or integrity and not quality, or really, I think most of the time when I see one, usually they possess both to a certain degree, or they possess neither. That's what I've seen a lot of. So either the guy's standing up or the guy's, paraplegic, I guess. So, all right, we're going to wait about 10 seconds. I'm going to hit the button and we're going to see who wins this prize. Yellow Jacket Y-Jack Do psychrometer. And we're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. It is HK HVAC Dragon. So I get to see. Hey, there you go. You won, man. Congratulations. So you have won the Y-Jack Do psychrometer, a hat, and a shirt. Make sure when you email me, do so at hvacshoptalk@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen. And then I can get your address and your shirt size. If you don't want the shirt and you want the face mask, from HVAC Tactical, just put that in the email. So basically, you're sending me your address, name, and whether you want a shirt, what size, or you want the face mask. So enjoy. See, and we'll do this as much as I have this gear laying around. We'll go through it. At the very least, I have hats and shirts for Shop Talk. I have a box I haven't even opened yet, so we have prizes for a while, and we can have a good time at the end of the show. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let me see. What else do we need to mention here? I have all these things written down. Gave away the thing. Tomorrow night, we have our Men with Issues program at 8 p.m. with Justin and I. So, it's not HVAC, so don't show up for HVAC and go, what is this, the Bible? Yeah, it's the Bible. So don't show up confused and angry or anything like that. It is the Bible. So we have some great conversations about current events and whatever we've been learning about that week. So that is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to support this show, you can do so at subscribestar.com/Zack Psioda. There's a link in the description there, or you can become a channel member, which you see on the screen beneath the video. You'll see a little thing that says join. You can become a channel member. Every month, we're taking all the people that support the show and we're having a hangout. We did one on the 12th just a few days ago, and we're going to do another one in April. So every month we'll bring you guys on there. And that's kind of my thank you back to you for supporting the show, is we'll all get together and talk about whatever we want to. So here's something that you can talk about. I had this up here, and this poll I put up, which says, how do you rate your HVAC knowledge? Basically 1 to 5. And I think every single person has that little bit of humility. They don't want to say they're 5s. There's some that say they're 4s. I said I was a 3, and it looks like most people were right in the boat with me. They kept calling themselves 3. So that's where I land on the grand scheme of things, I guess. I'm a 3. I think a lot of us probably would end up right there, because you always have more stuff to learn. So it's hard to put 5, and we have more pride than a 1. Come on. Although there's a few of them. Ralph says he's still a 1. Ralph's not a 1. Ralph's a solid 3 right there with me. So, all right, guys. So I think that's about it. Make sure, Mr. HK Dragon, to send that email. Send it as soon as possible. All the other stuff went out today. I sent out some gear for some of our other guests that didn't have any audio gear, so that should be arriving to Mr. Garcia and Mr. De La Portilla, who we recognize from previous podcasts. We're going to try to have at least a couple of these every week. And if it holds together, like I hope it does, next week we're going to have Nathan Orr from Kalo Services in Florida. And we're going to also have, a couple of days later, Jamie Kitchen from Danfoss. So that's, keep your fingers crossed. I've been working on those for a while, and getting equipment to Canada was a big fail. So Jamie's going to pick up a boom arm for his microphone. So we should be good to go. Okay. All right, Nightbot in there at the last minute. I don't know what the deal is, because it was supposed to be here the whole show. So there's some kind of problem I have with that. I might just abandon Nightbot except for a giveaway. So what else is new? Nightbot fails. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Had a great show. Thanks again, David. I appreciate you coming by. National Comfort Institute. We can dial his phone number if you want to and text him. I'll leave it up here while I'm finishing the show. So dial it, 706-332-2212. Don't do it. Send a text. A text would probably be good. It'd be nice to text, because some of you guys, different time zones, there can be confusion. So we'll be respectful that way. So you can do that. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I can talk forever, so I don't want to do that. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. If you watch Men with Issues, that's on the Men with Issues YouTube channel. And then we'll be back probably next Tuesday with Nathan Orr. So have a good night, and I'll see you guys on the next one.